Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we took on the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round of playoffs, and we managed to beat them yet again. So we are going back to the conference finals to once again face the Anaheim Ducks. Now, the series with Chicago was a little bit easier for us than anticipated. We didn't have the best first game, though. We dropped 5-3, so I was a little bit scared that maybe we weren't going to do so well. Well, we managed to bounce back with a nice 3-1 win, a 7-3 victory, a 5-4 victory, so our offense started getting good again, and then we won the last game 2-1. So a couple good defensive efforts as well, which has us in the conference finals against the Ducks. Now, we've played the Ducks so many times in the conference finals. I believe this is like the fourth time at least. Their team has definitely changed up quite a bit since. There is still some similar players, like obviously like Leo Carlson, Koi Visto, etc. But you can see some guys like McTavish have dropped off quite a bit. He's down to an 81 overall. He used to be like their third line center. They used to also have Trevor Zegras. He is now retired. So the team is definitely a little bit different and not as strong. They also have not as good of depth because they are paying some of their big guys a ton of money. Like Yukov is making $12 million, Drysdale's on $9 million, and then you have Koi Visto who is making 14.5. Leo Carlson making 14. Like, you can see why this team doesn't have the best depth is because they're paying their big guys a ton of money. However, they do actually also have some good goaltending in Tommy Ladd, who's been a really solid goaltender, especially in the last two regular seasons. So I'm a little bit scared about that because he has been one of the best goalies in the league, if not one of the best. I don't know for sure on that paper, but he's got a .917 save percentage in the playoffs so far. Last year in the playoffs, he didn't do too well. He lost 3 games in overtime, though, so he came down to a lot of unlucky bounces, I guess, in whatever series he played last year. The year before, he had a .904. The year before that, a .914 save percentage. Nearly won the Stanley Cup, too, but they lost to the Buffalo Sabres. That's when they knocked us out in the conference finals. And in the year before that, he had a .917 save percentage. So he's been a pretty decent goalie for most of his career. He was actually originally drafted by St. Louis, which is interesting because he never played for them. So I wonder what that trade was like back in 2034. But anyways, it should be interesting to see what our team does and if they could get back to another Stanley Cup Finals again. Because if we get back to another Cup Finals, we might play the Buffalo Sabres again, which we played them already in 2 Stanley Cup Finals before. Or we could play the Pittsburgh Penguins, which we've never played before. So very excited to see what ends up happening with all that. Now, there wasn't any comments in the last episode, so we'll be able to get into this pretty much right away. I will show you guys our player stats going into this round at the moment, so you guys can get an updated look at that, just in case you didn't catch the last episode. But right now, Caden Wilson has been the guy, 13 points. He had a lot of points in the last round. Ekholm's on point per game, Bickle's point per game, but still has yet to score his first goal of the playoffs, so I'm hoping for a little bit more offense out of Bickle in terms of goal scoring at least. Aiden Irving's also on 11 points. Vandermeer's on 10. You can see our depth scoring has definitely been pretty damn solid, but a couple guys definitely need to start stepping up a bit, like Blunden, for instance. He has 5 assists, which is okay, but he is a -4, and he has yet to score his first goal of the playoffs after what he did last year in his rookie playoffs, where he had 7 goals in 10 games. So expecting a lot more out of him in this round, but you never know. Maybe he's just having a bit of a sophomore slump, and I mean, he had a really good rookie regular season, so he should be able to start scoring goals in the playoffs at some point. But we have a lot of guys that have not scored yet so far. Bickle being one of them, obviously. Vernarski, Hurd. Like, most of them make kind of sense because they're bottom 6 guys, but I would hope for some more goal scoring out of some of these players on our roster. In terms of goaltending so far, Bergfist has actually been pretty damn consistent. Or he has had some rough games, but he's got a .917 save percentage through 12 games, so he's at least doing a lot better than he did last year when we ended up winning the Stanley Cup. So we're not as strong offensively this year. It seems like our goaltender is definitely the reason why we're winning games, and defense has been better as well. Anyways, let's get into this conference finals and see if we could go to another Stanley Cup Finals, because it would be insane if we could go for another Stanley Cup. We've won so many cups in this series already, and we've changed up like the core players a little bit too. Like last year, we even got rid of Grosek after the Stanley Cup win, yet we're still in the same pretty much spot almost as we were last year, which is pretty crazy. So anyways, game number 1 on home ice, of course. Can we take game 1 on home ice? And can we take both of our home games on home ice? Hopefully that would be a good way to start this conference finals. First period of game number 1. 2-0 us. Good start from the boys. Quinton Reese opened the scoring. He's actually been pretty damn good, Reese. He's been one of the better defensemen on the team at the moment because Goddard's another guy that needs to start getting more offense going. So hoping for a lot of guys that haven't been doing too well to take their play to the next level to get us to that Cup Finals. Bulbrook also scores. Bulbrook's been pretty good, so very happy with that. Good start to this game. Shots are 14-8 after 1, and it's a 2-0 lead for us. Can we keep it the same or get some insurance to make it an easier game for us going forward? Second period. 2-2. Oh no, that's not ideal. So there's Bergfist's worst period in a while. Glass makes it 2-1. Medvinov ties it up. As I think I was saying in the last episode, they have some really good high-end talent. However, they also don't have great players, but those depth players, you can't count them out. I don't know if any of these guys are low overall, but that's not great. So shots are 24-18 in favor of us. We had a 2-0 lead after the first period, but we've blown that since. Do we have a response after that second period? Because we need one, or else this could be a very bad first game. Let's see what happens in this final 20 minutes of play. Are we going to go to overtime in game 1? Maybe not. Koivisto makes it 3-2 Ducks. Oh boy, come on guys, let's respond. We had a 2-0 lead. We don't want to blow it here. We're on home ice for a reason, and Medvinov scores another goal to make it 4-2 on a power play goal. Not good. Not good. Our offense is drying up here in game 1, and Mason McTavish the empty net goal, and we're going to lose game 1 by a score of 5-2. Getting outshot 37-32. Well, that is not ideal. That is not ideal. Might have to make some adjustments. Reese scores his third goal of the playoffs. See, he's been one of the best defensemen in terms of goal scoring, which is kind of weird. Jacquezie and Blunden grabbed the assists. Bulbrook from Blunden and Scarlett in that first period. So Blunden has like a good amount of assists, but he has yet to score, which is not what I was hoping for from him this playoffs. I thought he would be kind of more of an X factor in this playoffs, but so far not too good from him. He's been an assist machine, but not a goal scorer, which we kind of pay him more to be a goal scorer, at least starting next year. So Medvinov first star lad for them, and Koivisto as well. So, who is Medvinov even in their lineup? Like, I feel like he's not even that good of a player overall-wise. But we are going to make some adjustments, I think, because this is basically starting exactly how the Chicago series went. But there is a chance that we might not play as good in Game 2 as we did against Chicago. So, let's make some adjustments as well. But I do want to see who Medvinov is on their team with those 2 goals. He's their third-line center, and he's only an 82 overall. Those were his first 2 goals of the playoffs against us. Wow. Drafted by the Arizona Coyotes. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this guy before. He might be new to the Ducks. Not 100% sure of that, though. All right, edit lines. What do we got to do to make this team get more offense of consistency and also play better defensively? Let's go back to Wilson on the top line. And we'll go back to Bickle on the top line, Ekholm, Jacquezie, Walter. In terms of third line, there's not really much I could do. Is there anybody that's minus on this team still? Oh boy. That third line keeps on playing tragic defensively. I got to take out... I got to move Hansen down to the 4th line here. I got to move him down to the 4th line. Maybe that'll help. And then Jamal Hurd could help out Blunden and Bulbrook defensively. And then we'll probably go back to our original defensive pairings here. So something like that should work, hypothetically. Yeah, that should be good. And Bergfist is down to a 915 save percentage, but he'll stay in net for now. But obviously, if he loses 2 straight games, and both of them are pretty bad, maybe I'll turn to Mills instead. So I think we're ready to go for the next game, but we need a big response here, because obviously if we lose somehow both games on home ice, we're going to be treading water, so to speak, and it's going to be hard to come back in the series if that happens. Like I was saying, though, I think Anaheim's definitely a favorite to win the Stanley Cup this year, considering they have yet to win a Stanley Cup since we've been so good. Buffalo's knocked them out in the Stanley Cup Finals a few years ago, so I think they're definitely a favorite. I don't know how good Pittsburgh is at this point, but I'd say between us and Anaheim, one of those 2 teams should probably win the Cup. Then it would probably be Buffalo, and then I honestly don't know on Pittsburgh. But anyways, let's see if we can get a good response in Game 2 like we did against Chicago. Last time we had a bad loss like that, we bounced back with a good defensive effort. So I'm hoping more of the same from Bergfist, and hopefully our offense could get going a bit here as well in Game 2. First period of Game number 2. Scoreless, I'll take it, but we are being outshot 16-5, so Bergfist definitely keeping us in this game so far after that first period. We barely generated anything in that first as well in terms of shots on goal. Like our only shots, let me take a look at when our shots were. So we had one late in the first period, but there was a period where the Ducks had so many consecutive shots, but they didn't score. Goddard and Walter shot there. Yeah, the Ducks had a lot of stretch. Like, they had the first 2, 4, 6, 7 shots on goal. So that's not great. We definitely have a little bit of luck on our side with Bergfist playing good right now. But obviously we know that sometimes he has bad second periods or third periods. So we need to find our way to get our offense to get more shots on goal in the second and potentially score a goal. And we need to also Bergfist to just keep doing what he's doing right now. Second period. 1-0 Ducks. Koivisto scoring on the 31st shot, maybe of the game already. We're being outshot 31-12. This is not the Jets team I know. The lack of offense, the lack of chances is astonishing so far. At least we had more shots in the second period than we did in the first period, but that is a rough second period in terms of chances. And of course, they find a way to break Bergfist, Bergfist has been fantastic so far. He's given us a chance, but Koivisto scoring with 1:57 left, that kind of sucks. We're going to need to find a way to score here early on because the longer this game goes on, the harder it's going to be to score. We have barely generated any shots on goal, so we need to get shots on goal in this third period or else this game is not looking too good. Let's see what happens in period number 3. Penalty kill to start the third. We kill it off. Then we get a goal on the power play. It's Aiden Irving. We have not a lot of shots on goal, but we do tie this game up. Let's go, Captain. Penalty kill again in this third period. This time we killed that one off too. Final few minutes of this third period. Oh no, Phaneuf gives the Ducks a 2-1 lead. Do we have a response here late? Come on, guys, please. Oh my goodness. Bergfist had a great game. 41 saves, but we lose 2-1 because we only generated 21 shots on goal. So that is not great. We are now headed to Anaheim down 2-0 in the series, which means we need to be in both games in Anaheim or else this is not great. Oh boy. Irving from Vandermeer and Walter. This is not good. This is not good whatsoever. And we had a couple minus, and it's that third line again. That third line has been a consistent issue. Even moving Jamal Hurd into that line didn't seem to help it. And yeah, that third line's a major issue. Bergfist got first star, Ladd the second star, Irving the third star, but we lose 2-1. Oh boy, our offense is off to a really bad start here in the conference finals. 3 goals. I'm not putting that on Bergfist, so the defense and the goaltending is going to stay the same for next game, but there's a chance I'm going to scratch Blunden here. Because he's just, or actually maybe rework the lines completely so Blunden and Bolbrook aren't together. Because maybe that's a problem. So we'll go back to Hansen on this line, but we are going to do some drastic movement here. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm trying to think of what exactly I want to do here. I think what I'm going to do is move Blunden to the top line so he's completely off that third line because I know Aiden Irving can play defensively. So we're going to get Aiden Irving into, I think, a third line role with Bolbrook and Hansen because I think he'll help out the defensive play. Kind of spread out the X factors a bit on this team. I think that's probably a good way of doing things. Because right now our defensive play on that third line has been atrocious. And we need to find a way to address that going forward. What about on defense here? -3, -4, -3. So Vandermeer's minus, Goddard is minus, and Scarlett is minus. Do we have a defenseman that I want to bring in? Well, Lone isn't defensive. He's a two-way. He actually has some good defensive stats, though. Let me take a look at the defensive awareness on some of these guys. Oh, man. The defensive awareness on Reese is pretty bad, but he's been actually one of our best defenders. The lowest defensive awareness on this team is Quentin Reese, but I don't think I'm going to take him out. Yeah, I think the defensive play is okay still. It's just more somehow the goaltending, and then also that third line's been really bad. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Split up the X factors a bit. And maybe that'll make us more well-rounded and better defensively. Yeah, I think so. Is there anybody I could call up? Matthew Harrison's jumped up to a 77. Huh, he's not bad, but I don't think I'll call him up yet. At some point, he'll be like in the lineup. Seth Baker isn't ready yet. He's not a bad defensive forward either. Calvusari. Calvusari is actually pretty good. He is a playmaker though, so he'll probably be in the NHL lineup next season, which is exciting. But it doesn't seem like there's anybody I could call up to help us out here going forward. Yeah, I think we'll just keep the rest of the team the same. So, splitting up the X Factors, I don't like putting Aiden Irving as a third liner because he's my favorite player probably in this series. But it's just to spread out the X Factors and hopefully make that third line a bit better defensively. Like, Blunden doesn't deserve to be a top liner based on how he's been playing. But it's probably what we have to end up doing anyways. Okay, so Pittsburgh's up 2-0 on Buffalo right now. So, it could be a Pittsburgh-Anaheim Stanley Cup Finals, which is interesting. We need to find a way to win at least one of these games in Anaheim, but we need to find a way to win both, preferably, because if we fall down 3-1, that's still a huge hill to climb. We've climbed out of that type of situation, I believe, before, but obviously winning both these games would set us back to square one again, so that's the hope. Hopefully we can do that. Let's see what happens in game number 3. This is a crucial game for this team. Let's play good defensively like last game and good goaltending-wise. But let's find our offense and generate some chances because we have not done that so far in the series. First period of Game 3. Now we're not playing good defensively. Ritchie, Carlson, and McBain. We're getting completely outworked here. We're going to need to find a way to maybe reverse sweep the Ducks, which is going to be tough as shit. But this is disappointing. This is disappointing. This might be the year that the Ducks beat us in the conference finals again. Like I said, they are probably a favorite to win the Stanley Cup at some point. It's just kind of crazy that it took them, like, Trevor Zegras' whole career to finally get to this point. But shots are 15-11 in favor of the Ducks. It's a 3-0 game after the first. Bergfist might not be in net any longer. I honestly don't know. But we need a response in the second period. We did generate some chances in that first, which is good. But the fact that we didn't score anything... We've been really bad offensively in the series. Like, I mean, this might be the worst our offense has ever looked. It's probably because we don't have Groshek anymore. We don't have any, like, depth scoring in that sense. Like, I was expecting Blunden to be the guy in this playoffs for Groshek, basically, when we moved out Groshek. But right now, it doesn't seem like he's been the case. Shots are 15-11, 3-0 game for the Ducks. Can we get at least 1 or 2 goals back in the second period to maybe give us a chance? Second period. Oh my goodness. Down 5-1 now. Bergfist is still in net. Shots are pretty even, so we're generating chances, but Ladd has been very good in the series, and he's been pretty much the X factor. They're also scoring a lot more goals than us too, though. Gregor makes it 4-0. Wilson gets on the board to make it 4-1, but Matvichuk scores on the power play. Well, looks like we're going to have to pull off a reverse sweep, which is going to be insanely tough. I mean, our team definitely could do it, but it's going to take a lot more of an effort. Matvichuk made it 6-1. Goddard gets on the board to make it 6-2. I think we're going to go best lines for the next game. At this rate, I don't really give a shit what my lines look like. Let's just trust that the coach maybe knows something. 7-2, a short-handed goal. That's a bit of a douche move there by Ryder Ritchie, and yeah, that's one of our worst playoff games in quite a long time. Final shots 37-34, but Bergfist, not a strong game. Our offense generated some chances, but once again, can't find a way to score more than 2 goals. So Wilson from Walter and Bickle, and Goddard from Jacuzzi and Walter. Jeez, yeah, those guys all tore us apart. That Anaheim Ducks team might win the cup this year. There's a chance. Oh my god, Blunden. I have never seen somebody play this bad defensively in the playoffs. Blunden's getting scratched. He was literally on the third line playing bad defensively. We moved him to the top line, and he does even worse. Blunden's getting scratched. There's no question about it. This kid is great in the regular season, but he cannot find his defensive game in this postseason. So he's going to get completely scratched and out of the picture for the next game because he has been atrocious. Like, his plus-minus is probably like a -10 or so. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is probably relatively okay. Like, let's take a look at his plus-minus now. -12 through 15 games. And he has yet to score a goal. That is the worst defensive effort I've seen from a guy in the playoffs. Because you look at the rest of our team, like everybody else is plus on the forward group, except for, I guess, Bulbrook, who's also been pretty bad. Let's go best lines, and then I'm going to take Blunden out of the lineup as well. So, Blunden, you're out. Hagelin gets thrown in, which is interesting. I am going to put Bulbrook into the top 6 or something. Wilson shouldn't be down this low in the lineup, though. I do like Wilson a lot. Let's put Jacquezie as a third liner because he was good there one time before. Hagelin could play. Blunden's going to come out. And in is going to go Mashenko, 83. I'd probably be leaning towards Jamal Hurd, but I am going to give Mashenko an opportunity because he's never played a game before. Might as well give him a game at 27 years old. Actually, he played 3 games for us in the regular season last year, but he's never played a playoff game before, so let's get Mashenko in and see if that helps us out anyway. And then there's our defense. Lalone gets thrown in for Reese, which I don't really like because Reese has been probably my best defenseman this playoff run. He's a +5, has 3 goals, but I guess he's going to be scratched based on the best lines, which is weird. Bergfist is down to a 9-10. He just had his worst game. We're also going to go to Mills for this next game, give Bergfist a break. So we're throwing all our cards in for this game. We'll see what ends up happening, but the best lines will also change to goaltending and also took Blunden out of the lineup. It's the biggest defensive casualty. Hopefully Bulbrook doesn't let me down, but Pittsburgh's up 3-0 on Buffalo, so Buffalo might also get eliminated in the conference finals, so it's looking like a Pittsburgh-Anaheim finals as of right now. Can we fight off elimination? We're going to need to win 4 straight games, which we have the club to do so, but we need to find a way to score goals. We've only scored a total of 5 goals in these first 3 games of the series. Meanwhile, we've given up a total of 14. So, not ideal. Let's see what happens. We're in Anaheim. Real-time simulation to keep our season alive. Can we win a game in Anaheim to maybe give us a chance to claw back into this conference finals? Come on, guys, please. We need to get our offense going. Penalty kill here in the first period. We managed to kill it off. Nicely done, penalty killers. Penalty kill again. It's another long penalty kill. I don't know why we're taking so many penalties here in this first period, but we are. Power play for us to end the first. We do not score, but we got outshot 15-8, which isn't ideal. It's probably because of those 2 power plays they had, but at least it's scoreless after 1. So good defensive first period, especially after losing the last game by 7-2. So let's have a strong second period here, find a way to score a goal, and hopefully we could get some momentum off that. Come on, boys. And we do score first. It's the captain, Aiden Irving, but they answer literally less than a minute later, and then they score again. Richie and Inglis, not Mills, what the heck am I saying? Inglis. And Richie scores again. Hurd gets us back within 1 again, though it's a 3-2 game. Don't like the way the goaltending is in this period. Come on, guys. Can we tie this up, please? We need to find a way to claw back into the series. We have the experience. We definitely can do it, but it's definitely going to be very tough. And we're trailing 3-2 going into the third period of a game that we could get eliminated in. That's not ideal. Shots 25-24, so it's been a pretty close game. Maybe the closest one of the series so far. We have yet to score more than 2 goals, though, in this conference finals. So I'm a bit scared that our team's not going to be able to find a way to tie this up in the third. But we have 1 period of hockey left, potentially, of our season. It's do or die. We need to find a way. Third period underway. And we immediately score. Okay, Vandermeer ties it up, but of course they answer less than a minute later again. It's Mason McTavish. Those goals that we give up right back really suck. Leo Carlson makes it 5-3. That's our season. That's likely our season right there. 2 quick goals from the Ducks in 4 minutes apart. And we are going to be getting swept in the conference finals. And unfortunately, we are not going to go for another Stanley Cup this year. That is really not great. Our team completely underperformed in that series, only scoring more than 2 goals 1 time. That's probably our worst series that our team has had in quite a while. And there's big off-season adjustments coming as well, because we are going to probably have to ship out somebody in the top 6. So that might be the last game you see guys like Caden Wilson on this team, which is not ideal. Irving from Hurd and Bickle, Hurd from Mashenko and Hagelin. So shout out to Mashenko for picking up an assist in his first ever game. Vandermeer from Walter and Wilson. Oh, man, what the hell is with this team here? Even with Blunden being scratched, it didn't even help us defensively. Jeez, yeah, Mills was pretty bad. Like, even guys like Walter had 7 shots on goal, but he could not score a single goal. Yeah, a lot of people on our team are snake bitten and all that as well, so completely got dominated, and Blunden didn't like that we scratched him, but hey, you were playing like trash. We get swept in the conference finals, as the Ducks will have a chance to win their first cup of the series, I think, or the first actually in a while, as they'll take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Both ended in a sweep. So, us and Buffalo out at the exact same time. Oh, man, this sucks. Let's take a look at these player stats here. So, starting off with our forwards. Wilson was good, 15 points and a +3. Bickle on 14 assists and a +3. He had no goals in the entire playoffs, so we needed a little bit more out of him in terms of goal scoring, but his assisting was good. Irving was good, 13 points. Walter was good too at times, but obviously he didn't do too well in that last game. Had a lot of shots on goal, but could not score. +5 at least, though, an almost point per game. Ekholm was solid. Chikwueze was good, but our depth really, really hurt us. Like, offensively, they were good, but, like, Bulbrook, -9, Blunden, -12. Those two guys were very terrible defensively. Very terrible defensively in these series. These last few series, I should say. Oh, yeah, Bulbrook was drafted by the Penguins. I forgot about that. But they were both drafted a year apart, same age. Timmins was okay. His plus-minus at least is better than some of these other guys. Hansen was not super good. Yeah, our depth was definitely not as strong as it has been in the past. But Hagelin and Mishenko picked up both an assist in their first ever games with us, which is kind of neat. And then defensively, Vandermeer had 12 points, but was -5. Goddard was -7. Our top offensive defensemen played tragic defensively and weren't doing enough offensively too, I guess. Reese was probably our best defenseman in the playoffs, him and Vernarski, who's also a pending free agent this offseason, I think. So, a lot of changes potentially coming to this Jets team, which kind of sucks. And in goaltending-wise, Bergfist dropped down to a 9-10. Mills was absolutely tragic when he did play. Well, that sucks. That sucks a lot. But at least we have a lot of Stanley Cups, so I can't complain too much. I do want to actually take a look at what Pittsburgh's looking like, just in case we would have got to the Cup Finals against them somehow. Because I want to know if there was any former players on this Pittsburgh Penguins team. Let's see. So, what is Pittsburgh looking like in 2039? Maxim Jas. Berkeley Catan still playing. Okay. Nobody so far that used to play for us or that I recognize. Oh, Dennis Cam. Dennis Cam's playing there. That's kind of cool. Dennis Cam had a home in Pittsburgh. 28 points this year. 47 points last year. Damn. Shout out to the Cam. Shout out to the Cam. 4 assists in the playoffs. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even realize he was still playing. So that's the forward group. Defensively. Nobody that I recognize. Goalies. Wow, they're running 279s, yet they got to the Cup Finals. Shout out to Pittsburgh for doing that. Yeah, I think the Ducks are going to win the Stanley Cup just because of the goaltending situation in Pittsburgh. But let's see who ends up winning the Stanley Cup in 2039 and breaks up our streak. Who is it going to be? It is going to be the Anaheim Ducks. They get it done. The first time they beat, or second time only that they beat us in the conference finals. They finally win one, and Rockford wins the HL. Well, at least shout out to the Ducks. They deserve to win a Stanley Cup eventually. It does suck, obviously, that they had to go through us to do so, but shout out to the Ducks for getting it done. But they won in 6 games, so Pittsburgh actually gave them a little bit of a run for their money. Dennis Cam losing in the Stanley Cup Finals. All right, let's take a look at the awards for this season. So Anaheim wins the Stanley Cup, which means now we have 3 Stanley Cups in the last 5 years. Couldn't get that 4th. We do have another President's Trophy, though, to add to our repertoire. Individual awards, Leo Carlson, the Art Ross. He's been really good. Yeah, Yeah, Angelo Sanderson, I think his name is, the Hart Memorial Trophy. Vandermeer does win another Norris, so Vandermeer's now got 2 in the last 3 years. Didn't really do as much in the playoffs, but that's okay. Atu Ratu, the Lady Bing. What's his name? Something Teal wins the Calder anyways, which is kind of crazy. Koivisto wins the Conn Smythe. He deserved one at some point in his career. Koivisto has been really good. Lacerte the Vesna for Seattle. Last year was Bergfist. Bouillon the Jennings, him and Brathwaite for the Islanders. Vallette for LA, the Masterton. Buffalo's head coach to Jack Adams. Bachman is Selke for the second straight year. Angelo Sanderson, the Lindsay, and Aiden Irving, the Richard, which is probably the one thing I was looking forward to seeing this offseason. Beautiful. Beautiful. So there is Aiden Irving's first, and probably only Richard, unless he wins another one next season. In terms of the AHL, any awards for our AHL affiliate, does not look like it. That's okay. That's okay. All right. So that is that. Let's wrap up the rest of the season. See who ends up retiring. I don't think we're going to have any casualties yet, but you never know. Edmonton has won the draft lottery, so they'll be drafting first overall. You have Dallas, New Jersey, Columbus, and Colorado to round out the top 5, as Colorado went from 15 to 5, so some good draft luck for them going forward. All right. All right. Let's see the retirements for the season. All right, so starting off with centers, Jack Hughes has retired. Also, Robert Thomas, William Eklund, some pretty good names. Mason McTavish retires as a Stanley Cup champion. Well, at least he got one right near the end, so shout out to Mason McTavish. Shane Pinto also retires. Logan Stankoven, our former guy, retires. He had a really good run with us, but he fell off a cliff afterwards. Yeah, this guy is probably one of the better players we brought in this series via trade. Like, he had some really good years. You could see he got better and better every season. And in the last year of his contract, 106 points, which was insane. We could not afford to bring him back really on that because I think he was going to drop off. And yeah, he never hit 80 points again. So we made the right call with that. He never won a Stanley Cup after leaving us, but Logan Stankoven was a decent player here early on. Best of luck to him in retirement. Still getting paid good money when he retired. Any other former players retire? Some guy at 33 years old. Kind of surprising a guy would retire at 33. Left wing wise, Brady Kitchuk retires with the Rangers. That's kind of weird. Arthur Kaliev, Matthias Michelli. We had Matthias Michelli early on, didn't we, as well? I think for only like a tiny little bit, right? Yeah, it was for 4 seasons. Yeah, his best year was a 75-point season. Don't think, yeah, he was never a part of the cup-winning teams here, but that's okay. Anybody else interesting that retired? Patrick Laine, of course, former Jet before our time, though. That's pretty much it. Okay, defensively, Noah Dobson's the best to retire. Owen Power, Moritz Seider, Sandin. I'm surprised Stanislav Svozil actually had an okay career. Didn't think he was going to pan out really in franchise mode, but generated guy Preston Cassian retires at 33 as well. I feel like Aiden Irving's definitely going to be a retirement casualty in these next few years, which is kind of scary. Kind of scary. Goalie-wise, Dustin Wolf, 431 career wins. Askarov up there, Hunter Jones, Jack Reeves, Hugo Allenfeld. Okay. So a decent retirement group. Oh, Dominic DiVincentis. His one and only NHL game was with the Calgary Flames, actually, and he got not a shutout in it. He only played 11 minutes, but this guy was originally with us at the beginning of the series. I don't remember if we traded him or if he signed with the Calgary Flames, but shout out to him as being one of those randos that played a little bit in the NHL. All right. Coach retirement. Did we lose our coach? Because that might be something that happens soon. We did lose a coach in the AHL, which is not a big issue. We did lose our head coach. I think Chandler Vivirios has been that guy that's won us all those Stanley Cups. I'm almost certain on that. We might have lost our long-term Stanley Cup champion winning coach that won 5 or 6 cups with us. Also won a bunch of President's trophies. Jeez, I hope that was not the head coach. I think it was, though. I got to take a look at that. As that would make that loss. Yep, it was our head coach. So our head coach has decided to call quits, which kind of sucks, but he's going to be a Hall of Fame coach because of that. But looks like Steve Jenkins might be the next coach of this team. But we are also going to have to look in free agency and stuff like that when we get to the offseason and next episode. For our 2 next episodes, actually, from now, of bringing in a new head coach. Jack Eichel also could get marinated into a future head coach, but man, does that suck to lose that coach. Because he was the perfect coach for this team for a long time. Which means the chemistry is going to not be as good probably next year, but you never know. Alright, final few things to wrap up the season. Let's start off with the progress reports and then the contract situation and the draft class. So, in terms of our progress reports, Walter is getting statistical growth and some natural, which is good. Looks like a lot of guys on some statistical. Timmins is, had some statistical drop-off, which is kind of weird, but he did get a lot of natural growth to his puck skills. So, that's intriguing. Harrison up to a 77. He's probably getting close to being an NHLer. 49 points in his rookie year in the AHL. Actually, not rookie year, second year in the AHL. Not bad for one young Matthew Harrison. Bickle, 86. Huh. Yeah, okay, so some guys are still growing statistically. What about in the system? Okay, Bohms is up to a 69, which is great. He's getting a lot of growth, up to 69 and 19. It was a second round selection, so shout out to Bohms. Bannister up to a 71 at 22. Waters up to a 75 at 20. So we are getting some good growth from a lot of these good prospects. Kang up to a 75. Kavusari's a 77. He's probably going to be a fourth liner next season. At least, maybe even a third liner. Yeah, we definitely have some faces that could make the NHL team soon, which is exciting. So at least we have some guys we could promote from within. But that also means we have to get rid of some people on our roster too to make roster space. In terms of the goaltenders, Caden Sutter's getting a lot of growth as a starter, which is nice. Kalinin also getting a good amount of growth, but he's already a 71 at 22. He's going to be a bit of an overager, I think, when he makes it. That's okay. Phillips also getting some growth as a low starter. Okay. Next part of this, the contract situation. Who is up for renewal this offseason again? I honestly don't remember. Vernarski's the big one. 5.8. That's a lot of money. There's a good chance that Vernarski could be testing free agency in the offseason. It's either that or we trade away Scarlett to free up cap space, but Vernarski's getting a bit more expensive. I do really like Vernarski. He's been here his entire career. Good offense, good defense. He's better offensively in the playoffs, which is kind of insane. Yeah, his time here is probably getting close to over. If not, it is over. And then you have Jamal Hurd, who could come back, but also we don't really need him too much. He's more of a fourth-line depth option. So I don't know for sure if we bring him back. Reese was actually pretty good in the playoffs, but he's kind of like a career depth defenseman. But since playing in the NHL, he's been good defensively, which is kind of nice. And he does score a decent chunk of goals for a defenseman too, so we might have to bring back Reese. As for other guys, Baker's there. Waters needs his ELC. He'll be playing in the AHL next year, or he could jump to the NHL almost instantly. Okay. So not the hugest class in terms of people we need to re-sign. Mills is a pretty big one, so we might have to make a decision on Mills if he will be our starter next year or if Bergqvist will stay the starter and then we trade away Mills, because I don't know about keeping an 85 as a backup. Like, he wasn't insane this year. So maybe we decide to flip him away, get ourselves an actual backup or something like that. I don't really know. But he is probably the biggest one that's up for renewal. I don't know how much cap space we're going to have going into next season, but we are going to have to probably flip out some people if we want to re-sign some of these other guys on the free agent list. Okay. Final thing, the draft class. What is the draft class looking like? Let's first take a look at our draft board. What picks do we have? We do have the Rangers first as well, which I almost forgot about. So we have 2 first-rounders, a second, 2 thirds, a 4th, 5th, and 2 6, 2 7s. Okay. So some late picks. So we could move up hypothetically And then we also have 2 firsts and 2 thirds. So let's take a look at what we could get at 21 and 30. Because that's where we're going to be drafting in the first round. We could try and move up if we want to, but isn't mandatory. Doesn't look like the strongest draft class, but let's see if there's anybody around the points that we draft that maybe we should move up for. Apparently we don't know anything about Rizzy, which kind of sucks, or Terry Mully. Taro Kuda looks like a generic top 6 potentially. Mike Fawcett looks like a generic top 4 maybe. Isaiah Bird, not looking too good. Yeah, this draft class might not be as strong as we were hoping for. Yeah, there's medium top 9 supposed to go in the early second round, so I would maybe think about flipping away some of my picks from this year to next year. There is a second round top 6 forward right there, though. Inkaz Hivnikov, who is decent, so I'll pin him as maybe a late first round pick instead. Also, maybe a medium elite sniper, I don't know for sure, though, on Ezra Perot. We'll pin him. Is there any guaranteed like low elites or medium elites that we could pin? Olafson maybe medium elite, but not for sure. He could be a medium elite that's very low overall. Stokes could be a medium elite goalie. I'll pin him. What about the low elites? There's a gem. Beaufait is actually the gem that we pinned before, I guess. Low elites, let's see. Low elite, please. Hey, there's a low elite guaranteed. Thomas Leonard. So he'll probably end up being one of our late picks. He's looking like a two-way forward, but he has the size to be a power forward, so he might be a power forward. Gilbert Delorme. Corey Fitzgerald. Yeah, I don't think this class is going to be super great. Harold Rabbit. Shout out to the Rabbit. Santiago Wallace. Some of these names are really weird, but oh well. Okay, so there's that, and I think that's almost it. I do want to take a look at the morale on this team for a second as well. A lot of good locker room chemistry, it looks like. AHL-wise, even better chemistry. Alright. Who has the lowest morale on the NHL team at the moment? Oh, apparently Scarlett is disengaged. That's not good. That's not good, but it's because we were eliminated in his individual performance as well. He's been a little bit hard on himself, apparently. So he should be okay. It's not because of ice time. Vernarski is disgruntled. He does not like his ice time occasionally. And also the playoffs being eliminated and such. Vernarski could be going to free agency just based on his morale. Alright. What about the goalies? How's their morale? Pretty normal. The lowest morale of the goalies is Bergfist, and it's probably because of his performance, right? Yeah. Yeah, we have some really tough decisions to make this offseason, but I mean, our team is able to get back to a conference finals again, so there's easily a chance that we could do good again next year, but it's going to be really tough considering we just lost our coach to retirement. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the draft and re-sign stage. We'll make some tough decisions with this club, but I think we're going to be good again next year. Just I don't know how good we're going to be with a different head coach, because obviously losing that head coach is pretty substantial considering he won us so many Stanley Cups and President's trophies. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.